Imagine a buyer named Derek. Derek is 31 years old and makes $78,000 a year. 2 years ago, he walked into a Ford dealership looking for a truck. He wanted something dependable, something comfortable, and honestly, something that made him feel like all those years of working had finally paid off. He found the brand new F-150 he loved. The price was $67,000. After his down payment and trade-in, Derek financed about $51,500. 84 months, 7 full years. His payment came to roughly $806 a month. The salesperson shook his hand, congratulated him, and handed him the keys. Derek drove home feeling successful. But last March, a tow truck showed up outside his house at 6 in the morning and drove away with that same F-150. Derek had not gambled away his money. He had not bought a yacht. He had bought one of the most popular vehicles in America. And that is exactly why this story matters. By November 2025, more than 2.2 million vehicles had reportedly been repossessed during the year. Industry estimates projected that the final number could pass 3 million, approaching levels associated with the Great Recession. Those were not all trucks, and 3 million was a projection, not a confirmed final count. But the warning was impossible to miss. The truck market has not collapsed yet. Trucks are still selling. Prices are still high. But underneath those strong sales, the debt supporting the market is beginning to crack. So how did a normal pickup become a 7-year financial contract? And what happens when buyers finally run out of room? Let's run the math. The $66,000 truck. In March 2026, the average transaction price for a full-size pickup in America was just under $66,000. That is not the price of a rare sports car. That is what buyers were actually paying on average for a full-size truck. The latest official median household income is around $83,700. So the average full-size pickup now costs close to 80% of what the typical American household earns in an entire year, before taxes. Manufacturers still advertise basic trucks starting near $40,000, but add four-wheel drive, a larger engine, technology packages, a nicer interior, and destination charges, and the price climbs quickly. The pickup used to be a simple work tool. You bought it to tow a trailer, haul equipment, throw lumber in the bed. You expected it to get scratched. Today, many trucks come with giant touchscreens, panoramic roofs, premium sound systems, and luxury interiors. The advertisements still show mud and construction sites, but the price looks more like a luxury vehicle, and Americans are still buying. In December 2025 alone, more than 233,000 full-size pickups were sold, so the market does not look weak from the outside. That is what makes the problem underneath it so important: how the price started to feel possible. Part of this story goes back to 1964, when the United States placed a 25% tariff on imported light trucks. It became known as the chicken tax. Foreign manufacturers adapted by building trucks inside America, so the tariff is not the only reason trucks are expensive. But it made lower-priced imported pickups harder to bring into the country and helped shape a market dominated by a small number of manufacturers. Over time, trucks became more than work vehicles. They became family vehicles, luxury products, status symbols. But household incomes did not rise quickly enough to match the price. So instead of always lowering the truck's price, the industry made the loan longer. The 7-year payment. In the first quarter of 2026, 22.9% of financed new vehicle purchases used loans lasting 84 months or longer. That is an all-time high. Nearly 1 in 4 financed new vehicles now comes with at least 7 years of payments. Think about where you were 7 years ago. Different job, different home, maybe a completely different income. But an 84-month loan assumes your financial life will remain stable for almost an entire decade. Now look at Derek's numbers. He finances $51,500 at 8.1% for 84 months. His payment is about $806. Across the full loan, he will send the lender roughly $67,700. That is more than $16,000 in interest on the amount he financed, and that doesn't include his down payment, insurance, gas, registration, tires, maintenance, and repairs. The longer loan did not make the truck affordable. It made the monthly payment look possible. Those are two very different things. Derek's real monthly cost. The dealership focused Derek on one number, $806, but the payment is only the beginning. Add about $225 for insurance, $200 for gas, $100 for maintenance and repairs, and around $60 for registration, taxes, and other recurring costs. Derek's $806 truck is really costing him close to $1,390 every month. He takes home roughly $5,100 a month, depending on taxes, benefits, and where he lives. That means the truck consumes about 27% of his take-home pay, before rent, before groceries, before utilities, before saving for a home, before investing for retirement. This is how someone can earn $78,000 a year and still feel like there is never enough money left. The real problem is not only what the truck costs, it's everything the truck prevents him from doing. The finance office. Most buyers think the negotiation ends when they agree on the vehicle price. It does not. There is still the finance office. This is where the loan is finalized and buyers may be offered service contracts, gap coverage, paint protection, wheel protection, and other products. Some of those products may be useful, but once they're added to a 7-year loan, buyers can pay interest on them for years. The most dangerous question in that room is often, what monthly payment are you comfortable with? Because once the conversation becomes about the monthly payment, the total price becomes easier to ignore. The loan term can be stretched, optional products can be added, and the deal can be adjusted until the payment lands near the number you gave them. You leave knowing the monthly payment, but you may not fully understand the total amount financed. That is why every buyer should ask for 4 numbers: the out-the-door price, the interest rate, the price of every add-on, and the total amount of all payments. Also compare the dealership's financing with an offer from your own bank or credit union, because the monthly payment is not the price. It is simply the smallest number in the deal. The negative equity trap. Now imagine Derek needs to escape the loan. Maybe his income falls, maybe his rent goes up, maybe he realizes the truck is taking too much of his life. He asks what the truck is worth. That's when he discovers its market value is lower than the balance remaining on his loan. He's underwater. In the first quarter of 2026, 30.9% of trade-ins used toward new vehicle purchases carried negative equity. The average underwater buyer owed $7,138 more than the vehicle was worth, and 43% of new loans involving negative equity trade-ins were stretched to 84 months. Think about that. Someone owes $7,000 more than their current vehicle is worth. Instead of paying off the loss, they roll it into the next loan. Now they're financing the new vehicle and the unpaid debt from the old one, with interest. The new loan starts underwater from day one. It's not a fresh start. It's old debt wearing a new set of tires. The repossession warning. By November 2025 alone, more than 2.2 million vehicles had reportedly been repossessed. Industry estimates projected that the final total could pass 3 million. Again, those were not all trucks, and 3 million was a projection. But every repossession reveals the same basic problem. At some point, the payment stopped fitting the borrower's life. And losing the vehicle doesn't always mean ending the debt. If the lender sells it for less than the remaining balance and related costs, the borrower may still owe the difference. So someone can lose the vehicle, damage their credit, and still be left with a bill. In much of America, losing a vehicle can also mean losing access to work. There may be no reliable train, no useful bus route. There's the vehicle or there's nothing. That is what gives these loans so much power. People keep paying because their daily lives depend on it. When the pressure spreads. The pressure is not limited to buyers. In April 2026, America's CarMart approved the closure of 42 of its 136 dealership locations. One company closing stores doesn't prove the whole truck market is collapsing, but it shows how financial pressure can spread. Buyers take longer loans, they build equity more slowly. More buyers become trapped underwater. Repossessions rise. Lenders become more cautious. Financing becomes harder to obtain. That is what a market break could look like. Not every dealership closing overnight, not every truck losing half its value tomorrow. It begins when the debt underneath the market can no longer support the prices above it. Derek versus Marcus. Now compare Derek with his coworker Marcus. Same city, same $78,000 salary. Marcus also wants a truck, but instead of buying a newer $67,000 model, he buys a reliable 6-year-old truck for $20,000. He puts $5,000 down and finances $15,000 for 4 years at 8.1%. His payment is about $367. After insurance, gas, maintenance, and registration, Marcus spends around $850 every month. Derek spends close to $1,390. The difference is about $540 every month. If Marcus invested that difference for 7 years and earned an average return of 8%, it could grow to roughly $60,000. Returns are never guaranteed. The point is not that everyone must buy the cheapest truck available. The point is that two transportation decisions can create completely different financial lives. Derek gets the newer truck. Marcus gets breathing room. Room for emergencies. Room to invest. Room to save for a home. The real cost of Derek's truck is not only the money leaving his account, it's every option that money can no longer fund. Why the market could break. The truck market is not in danger because Americans suddenly stop liking trucks. Americans still love trucks. The danger is that prices have moved beyond what many buyers can support without longer loans, small down payments, and old debt rolled into new vehicles. But that strategy has a limit. You cannot keep raising prices forever. You cannot keep stretching loans forever. You cannot keep rolling yesterday's losses into tomorrow's debt forever. Eventually, the payment no longer fits. The lender says no. The buyer walks away. And when enough buyers reach that point together, manufacturers have to lower prices, offer larger incentives, cut production, or accept fewer sales. The truck market has not collapsed yet, but nearly 1 in 4 financed new vehicles now needs at least 7 years of payments. Almost 1/3 of trade-ins toward new vehicles are underwater, and millions of vehicles have been taken back by lenders. The warning signs are already here. Derek was not reckless. He was not irresponsible. He made a decision that has become completely normal in America, and normal does not always mean affordable. Before buying a truck, do not ask only what payment the dealership can get approved. Calculate the complete monthly cost yourself. Use your take-home income. Ask for the out-the-door price. Get a financing offer before entering the dealership. Read every product added to the contract and look at the total amount you will pay, not only the number due next month. Buy the truck that fits your life, not the truck that only fits inside an 84-month loan, because the truck market has not collapsed yet. But when nearly 1 in 4 financed new vehicles need 7 years of debt to feel affordable, the math is already showing us where the pressure is building. What do you think? Is buying a new truck still a smart decision in 2026? And how much of someone's take-home pay should ever go toward a vehicle? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.